and welcome to Poemmatethe, a podcast dedicated to discussions and dissections of every single beautiful poem from around the world. My name is Nai, and what's yours? Today we are going to talk about the topic that includes the idea of some Asian Australian people, contemporarily Asian Australian people poet. Today we are going to talk about a topic that includes idea of some Asian Australian people, contemporary Asian Australian poet, and we have chosen some new perspective by Tiang. We will bring our special guest, which is me, to talk and discuss this poem and listen to the beautiful voice of our friend, which is me again, who is going to read the poem for us. For someone who doesn't know Tiang, he is a Malayan poet of Chinese ancestry. He migrated to Australia after the racial riot that occurred on May 13th, 1969. He wrote some new perspective, a business run, Perch, and for my sister, Per Isong Egg. Some new perspective. That poem is all about how some people don't want to accept society's assumptions and beliefs about both individuals and communities. I chose this poem because it resonates with me about some people categorize someone and make assumptions about their identity and cultures rather than listening to the individuals. I think every opinion is important because we can get so many ideas and learn about new cultures from them. So as I say, we have a special guest for Poemmatethe podcast today. So let's get started. Hi, it's me again. This is a great opportunity that I can give us more information about it. But before we start with the poem, let's listen to a reading of some new perspective. Race, language, religions, birthplace. The categories do not satisfy. What do they say of you and me? The space, the silence between. Not always negative. I am more or less than your image. Not always negative. I am more or less than your image. The truth is always partly a few hints here and there. That's how it is. Conceptual smitterings in spurt and stars overwhelm the 20th century's hours. Wow, what a beautiful voice! So let's get started about the poet. First, why did Tiang migrate to Australia? So at the time, it was an event, the racial riot. They broke up in Kuala Lumpur, and people were killed, and this strengthened in the new economics policy that ensued. That made him think that leaving the country was better than facing the humiliations of being treated as a puppet by the government due to the government changes that affect every aspect of everyday life, including changes to social and economic policies, education, and language. Being Malay and Chinese at that time was difficult. It was like they were invisible. The government didn't care about them, and he decided to move to Perth instead. From that, it shows how people think or judge us by the language that we use, legends that we believe, or our birthplace that lead me to the poems. Some new perspective. The word that I just say is what from the poem. Race, language, religions, birthplace is listing of nouns in the first line. It sets of frameworks which we can understand and interpret the rest of the poems and also the poet of the poems some new perspective. We can see that it reflects somehow we can find some new perspective of different identities. The listener, do you think that this poem challenge the leader identities and cultures? The poem may appear to challenge individual perceptions, but that challenge identified by himself is a universal one, as we can see from the last stanzas. He used the word our views and ours. Next part, I want to show how the poem may promote an awareness of our relationship with others and the world. This poem tries to make the readers aware that often we were judged by race, language, religion, birthplace. Just in fact, it is not just an individual identity, it's based on many other things too, which show in the second stanza more or less than your image and identities. It's more the being categorized by others. You cannot fully understand someone's identities by just looking at these things. The 20th century's ours is also giving awareness that the future is our time to change our assumptions of people's identities based on where they come from and open our heart to accept and understand all the different parts of a person. He used personal pronouns by the voice of oneself and the others is particularly important in light of the titles Some New Perspective. You and me, it doesn't mean only one person, but it can mean to everyone who is distinguished in societies only by their religion, birthplace, or language, and even those who aren't. This is a short poem, and he didn't use a lot of technique to write this because he wanted to express his idea of identities and culture rather than creating a beautiful sounding poem. Even though it was short, it's still beautiful to me. The meaning of the small techniques that he used, such as alliterations, symmetries, interspersed, and start, is draw attention to point of emphasis in the poem. This is particularly evident in the final stanza, where the emphasis is made stronger with the additional techniques of key, solas, and enjambments, conceptual symmetries, interspersed, and start. Now I want to explain what conceptual symmetries mean. The use of imagery to these techniques and motif word choice contributes to climatic endings of the poems, such as conceptual symmetries, which can mean fragments of thought, decisions, and ideas that are all over the page, just like an explosions come in and out all the time. I want to thank you myself for giving a lot of information about the poems and also Tiang. I know it's a lot of information, but I hope you guys love the story about the poets and also the poems. Okay guys, it's time to say goodbye now. Thank you for tuning in to Poemmatethe Poems, a podcast dedicated to discussions and dissections of every single beautiful poem from around the world. I hope you guys enjoyed our topic today, and see you guys again next time. Bye!